Murder.
Chalk outlines.
DNA tests.
Blood.
Anonymous tip.
Beheadings and disembowelments.
Fingerprints.
The yellow tape that they have on crime scenes.
Witness statements.
Stakeouts with my cop friend and we drink coffee. UV lights that they can see on. 5 minutes.
Yes, we're about to get a true crime podcast in about 5 minutes.
I thought for this episode we'd do one that's pretty topical actually at the moment. If you open up your Netflix, you might actually see this documentary up the top. I think it's like in one of the top 10 kind of streaming overall.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's one of those cases that it's been around for years, like about 30 years now. But it's only just come to light, like a lot of Netflix docos do, because it's on Netflix. And it is, sadly, the mystery, the unsolved case of the murder of JonBenét Ramsey.
It was a case that people couldn't stop talking about. Some people don't think it's ever going to be solved.
Prior to Christmas Day of 1996, we were just a regular family.
Someone killed this 6-year-old child.
I must admit, I saw it. I was like, nah, I don't think it seems too sad. But now, if I know the story in the next 5 minutes, I won't have to watch it.
Well, exactly. I'm going to scrape the surface here, obviously, in 5 minutes, so that if you don't have the time to watch the 3 hour-long episodes, that's okay.
You can just chop it up with people and be like, yeah, I watched that. So good. Hey.
Well, yeah, it's a very sad case. I will say that, and it is, like I said, it's completely unsolved still to this day. It happened in 1996. You might have actually recognised the photo of her, the famous photo. She's gorgeous. This 6-year-old girl, JonBenét. She is a beauty pageant child, so she went around in beauty pageants. She won. She looks like she's just stunning. Like, I can't even comprehend. Like, you look at these photos and you're like, my gosh, she looks like a living doll. And the problem was that because she was always doing these beauty pageants and they had photos and videos of her everywhere, a lot of the fingers pointed at the parents being their fault, because it was, well, if you put her in beauty pageants and she's this gorgeous, of course you're going to attract people that would be predators and pedophiles and possibly murderers. So let's just rewind to 1996, the day that unfortunately she was found dead. So she was found on the morning of Boxing Day, 1996, age 6 years old. So kind of like same age as us, kind of around about, well, Ben and I especially. So she was age 6 and they just had a beautiful Christmas. And then unfortunately early that morning, the family got up. They couldn't find JonBenét. They went around the house and they found, well, Patsy, the mother, found a ransom note at the bottom of their staircase. The note said, like, in short, I've taken your daughter. You need to pay $118,000 to get her back. Do not call the police. They called the police
Such a
first
specific amount of money.
Well, so that's one of the reasons, and this is what the documentary goes into. Why was it that much? They called the police straight away, even though they said not to. They called the police, and while the police were there, like 3 hours went past. And then they actually found her body in the house. She had been killed hours and hours before, and she was found in the basement.
What?
So this whole time that they were thinking she'd been taken, she was actually in their house still, which is awful. Now, so they obviously start this whole investigation. The parents are freaking out. They're saying, close the airports, please. Like just try and get this person that has killed our child. The police let everybody and their dog walk through that house that morning. They let the family, friends, people come over. The DNA was completely scattered everywhere. Things like the crime scene, well, what was the crime scene wasn't actually kept intact. So there's a lot of errors as well that the police did from day one. With that happening, fingers started getting pointed within the first few weeks. It's the parents. It's John and Patsy. They murdered their own child because there was no DNA that was being found to anybody else. They were saying, oh, well, actually, they put her in beauty pageants, so therefore they also killed her. Now, these poor parents were not only dealing with the tragic loss and murder of their child, but they were also being told, like, the media everywhere, and I can't express enough, was like, they did it, they did it, they did it. They also had a 9-year-old boy, and the media was saying that he had killed JonBenét, which is just awful. So this poor child was dealing with that as well. Now, let's fast forward, like, year 2000, so 4 years later, there was even books being published by ex-detectives saying that the parents had killed her, which is like, You can't do that as an ex-detective saying, oh, actually, I've written this book saying that the parents have done it. And the parents are like, what the hell? They finally did DNA tests and proved that it wasn't the parents' DNA, but they had an unnamed DNA. They didn't know who it was. Let's fast forward again because I got to rush through this one because there's a lot that happened. But let's fast forward all the way again up until like the mid-early 2000s. A man actually named John Carr stepped forward and confessed and said, I was in a loving affair with JonBenét. Which is horrible in itself. I loved her very much. I used to sneak into your house all the time and come and see her during the night. And he had all these photos of her beauty pageants, and he was obsessed with her, like hands down obsessed with her. Now, I'm not going to go through the gruesome details, but he did confess in detail to accidentally killing her in a moment of passion and love, and he accidentally killed her. Now, he does also say details that nobody else would know about their house, the inside of the house, how he got in, how he got out, everything matched up. And he just came forward and said, yeah, it was me. He was also a primary school teacher at the time. He was arrested. They cross-checked some DNA and they went, it just doesn't really fit perfectly right. So we're going to let him off. And the parents were like, well, you let everybody come through the house that morning. There was DNA everywhere. And they never actually, even though the DNA didn't match the parents, the police never actually ruled the parents out. So they were like, how can you not rule us out? But then the DNA doesn't match this guy who's openly confessed to everyone, even in front of cameras and news, saying, yeah, I killed her. And they went, well, the DNA just doesn't really match. So he's free. So he's a free man. And
weird,
to this day, it is still unresolved. And it's a horrific crime, and I think this is the perfect episode if you want to know the story but not know the details, because the details in the documentary and what you see, it's a lot. So, yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Belle.
That's
Well,
okay.
we'll catch you in the next one.